So the format of a lesson, we looked at how, if you were to look in your units, I'm very visual. It has to be like a long page of text, I'm probably gonna, set it to the side. Maybe I won't read that right now. So we broke up all of the lessons to be in little boxes so that you can just quickly see, what do I do for mini lesson? What do I do for try it out time? How it's going to work in your classroom is based on your classroom. That's the beauty of this, is it doesn't look, how it looks in my classroom may be completely different than how it looks in Beth or Monica's classroom. Just because we're different teachers, we're different people, our kids are different. To start off your lessons each day, you're going to do a mini lesson, and this is mini. So with little kids, and you guys know that, their attention span might only be 5 minutes that day. So you're going to quickly, 5 to 15 minutes, do a lesson on what you want to do or what you're trying to teach and you want them to implement in their writing. For this time in my classroom, I always do a modeled writing. So I may be working on a piece that I've already, kind of started. I may be starting a new piece, and then I very dramatically close my eyes and show brainstorming. But this is going to be a short mini lesson to teach what you're wanting to teach to your kids. For the try it out time, this is when your kids get to write. So this is my favorite part of the Writer's Workshop process. As much as I love talking and being in the front, I like when they get to write. That's my favorite part. So depending on how you structure that in your classroom, for me, my mini lesson is on the carpet. They all come to the carpet. I use big chart paper and I model my writing. And then I keep their folders in a bucket, close to me, and I'll call out one at a time. And we have to practice several times at the beginning how we walk to our seat for Writer's Workshop. But they walk to their seat, and then this is their time when they're working on their own writing. In my classroom, I play classical music. We call it our thinking music. And it gets to the point where, May, they'll be like, Ms. Dias, I cannot think. There's no thinking music on. And it's only Writer's Workshop time that we use thinking music because I'm a big talker. So I let my kids talk all the other times. Writer's Workshop is our quiet time. So how that looks in your classroom is going to be different maybe. And then the last part of the Writer's Workshop format for a lesson is sharing. And that is the most important part of the day. It seems like, I know some days we're really busy and we have a million things to get done. There may be an assembly or a fire drill, but find time to let your kids share their writing. I have found that that's when my kids get the most excited and they buy into Writer's Workshop, when they get to see their friends share and when they start sharing. I've started it with my class this year, and I have a little boy who is a talker. I can't really say much, but he loves to talk. And so I was like, hey, would you like to be my friend that shares today? And he was like, yeah. Well, he started getting shy and I picked 3 a day. He kept backing up to the end of the line of the 3. And I was like, all right, honey, it's your turn. So he sits down in the share chair and was like, da, da, da. Like you couldn't hear what he was saying. And I was like, let's use our speaking voice. We want our friends to be able to hear us. So it said cat and dog, because we're just starting off writing. And he's one of my little babies that struggles with, his reading and writing. So he showed his picture and the kids start applauding and his face lit up. He was so proud of himself, and I let them pick 2 friends to compliment, and that's a process too. They're like, I like your writing. So we're getting into how we compliment our friends, but someone said, I really like that you drew that bed right there. And he was just beaming. And that to me is, I can't get them more, I could do a song and dance, and they may get this excited, but when they get to read their writing to their friends and hear their friends compliment their writing, they're going to get this excited about writing. So that if you only have time for a 3-minute mini lesson so that you can squeeze that sharing time in, make sure to do that. That is the best part of Writer's Workshop.
Yeah, that's what's going to motivate them to keep going. And so whatever you do, don't miss share time. And it might be just sharing with their peanut butter and jelly partners. It might be a whole share, like in the author's chair, but make sure you, and there's several different ways to share, and that's embedded into the workshop model as well, and you'll have many lessons on that. But make sure that you get to some sort of sharing so that it gets them excited, because if you miss out on that, you think, oh, I'm in such a hurry, I just don't have time for that. Make time for that. Don't miss out on share time.
And keep a running record of the kids you've chosen, because you know it's easy to pick the kids that have beautiful writing, but you also want to pull kids up that just may do this and be like, that's a tornado. You know, it's important for them to feel special as well.
Absolutely.
And you'll always have those kids that are like, I haven't shared all year. I always have those ones. Be like, that was last Tuesday, it was your day. I can see on my calendar. So yeah, you'll want that just in case. And then the next slide is going to show the format of a lesson in more of a visual way, because I'm very much a visual learner. So this is a lesson I just did with my kids this year. It was day 3 of the first grade unit. So I was teaching my kids. So mine was a working piece, and when I started, I modeled very dramatically, what can I write about? I thought of a million things, and then I was like, oh, I know, I want to write about my family. So I drew the picture, and that first day I was just working on labeling. So that's not actually, if you looked real close, Krista has a U at the end. My mom came in and was like, wow, great spelling. I was like, we sounded that out. So I just modeled sounding out the words with my kids to label. Then this day I was reading Pancakes for Breakfast, and I read it very dramatically, like woman, dog, and cat. And I was like, oh, that's so boring. I want to read it with my words. So then we reread it together, and we were talking about how you can add writing at the bottom of your picture to really show your reader more about your story. And so I wrote at the bottom. So they got to see me label the first day and then add some text the second day to my writing. And I don't spend time coloring. I mean, I'll model some coloring, but I always tell them, I really want you to have time to write. I'll color mine later. Then this is the try it out. So then my kiddos went to their seats and they got to do their own writing. One little friend drew me, dog, and then he wrote, I love my dog. And then another little one wrote, me and my friends are playing outside. So that was their writing for the day. And so if you were able to see really close, you can see they have the labeling. They have some text at the bottom. So they're starting to do the things that I'm doing in my writing in their own writing from that modeling process. And then for me, I can see with my little friend on the left, I may want to talk about setting, adding more details in our pictures. That way we know where you are. And to me, that's just, I know for that kiddo in his little chart, I might write that. And then at the bottom is the sharing. And in your units, there are 3 share passes. And you'll want to cut these out and probably laminate them because they get torn real easily. And then every single day, I will pick 3 friends to share their writing. Otherwise, you'll have 20. I always feel guilty, and so I know at 3 I'm done. And it's a great motivator, too. If you have some little squirrely ones that have a hard time sitting and you're really working, the first one I may just, that little one that can't sit for long, I'll be like, oh, would you share today? And then they'll write really well, and I'll usually stretch out and pick the third person as close to the end of writing time as possible, because as they start getting a little bit wiggly, I'll be like, oh, I'm still looking for a friend to share, and they sit up real straight and start writing. So you'll want to pick 3 every day, and I stick to that. Once I have 3, then that's the only friends that get to share for the day. You guys have something to add?
I totally agree, yeah. And just to reiterate, it's a great motivational tool. So I always put them in my pocket and I'll walk around and I start off by, I see someone who's working terrific, and then you give it to them, and then everybody else works really well for the next 2 to 3 minutes in kindergarten. Then you can start seeing the wiggles and you say, I'm looking for that next share, and then they straighten out. It will keep them motivated rather than just saying, and I say this too, when you think you're done, you've just begun. Keep writing. But they get tired of hearing that, so you got to pull some other things out of your pocket, and a share pass is excellent to keep them on task.
And in pre-K and K, our template looks a lot more simpler. In fact, there is one without the title, so there's just a box for a picture and their name. There aren't any lines yet. Very simple. And you might be writing their name for them. I am.